All right, so I have gone ahead and labeled my axes and I have plotted my data points. So I want to point out something. I counted by 0.25 every single time, but I didn't write down every single number. And that's because it can get too crowded and it can be hard to read the numbers. So even though I counted by 0.25, so like this would be 0.25, this would be 0.5, this would be 0.75, and this would be 1. I just didn't write down every single number, and that's just to make it look cleaner and neater. Same thing goes for this one. I counted 0 and then went 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, but I just didn't write down every single number. And again, that's just because it makes it look neater and not as crowded. But if it helps you to write down every single number, by all means do that. But I just wanted to point out that I still counted by 2s going up and I still counted by 0.25s going across, but I just didn't write down every single number. Then I plotted my points and I labeled my graph. So I am ready now to draw the line of best fit. The line of best fit is a line drawn to show the pattern or the trend of data. This particular data, you can see the line is very straight. However, this is most often not the case, or sometimes not the case. So the line of best fit is designed to show the overall trend of the data. When you draw the line of best fit, sometimes it will hit all of your points and sometimes it won't. Sometimes it won't hit any of your points. But the best rule of thumb is, first of all, you want to use a straight edge or a ruler. The second thing is you want to determine if it's appropriate for your line to start at 0, 0. In this case, if I have 0 grams, if I have 0 grams of matter, then it will take up 0 milliliters of space. So if I have nothing, it's not going to take up any space. So it is appropriate for my line of best fit, my data, to go through 0, 0. Some data, it doesn't make sense for it to go through 0, 0, but in this case it does, because like I said, it makes sense that if I have no mass, then I will also have no volume. So I'm going to start my line through 0, 0. I'm going to use a transparent ruler so that I can see both sides of my line. I want my line of best fit to obviously go through the majority of my points. If it doesn't go through the majority of my points, then I want to make sure there's the same number of points above my line that are below my line. So I want to balance out the number of points above and below. Again, that just says that it's a better representation of my data. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to start at 0, 0, make sure my pencil is on the corner. Then I'm going to line up my ruler so that my line hits the majority of my points. And I'm making sure that I use a pencil just in case. Oops, and my ruler kind of went away from me for a second. Gotta hold it still. All right. So there is my line of best fit. It's an entire line, okay? Not just a partial line. I'm not connecting the dots, so my line shouldn't be curved. It should be an exact straight line. And then I can always, because I'm using pencil, I can always go back and redraw my line. If after I draw it, I look at it and think, it's not a great representation of my data, I can always go back and redraw it, okay? So that's why we use pencil. But it looks like, okay, it's going through these points. There's a point below, and it's pretty much going through this point. So I think this is a pretty good representation of my data. So there's your line of best fit.